The message arrived so casually that, for a moment, I thought it had been sent to the wrong person. I was standing in line at the grocery store, my basket half full, when my phone buzzed. I glanced at it, expecting a meme from a friend, or maybe a reminder from my mother about bringing dessert to the rehearsal dinner. Instead, I saw my brother's name. And under it, the words that shattered years of closeness in an instant. "Don't come to my wedding. It's family only." Just that. No explanation, no apology, not even a period at the end. I froze. My fingers tightened around the phone, and for a few seconds, the world blurred out. Voices around me muffled, footsteps distant, everything swallowed by the hollow ringing in my ears. My brother had always been someone who spoke in warmth, in laughter, in long paragraphs of thoughts he needed to unload. This was something else entirely. I read the message again, and again. The more I looked at it, the more unreal it felt. Like a joke without a punchline. When I didn't respond right away, another text popped up. "It's easier this way." Easier for who? Easier than what? My heart plunged somewhere deep inside me. I stepped out of the line, leaving my basket behind, and walked straight to my car. I needed silence. Stillness. Anything to steady the shaking in my hands. Inside the car, I stared at the screen until my vision blurred with tears I didn't want to shed. This was my brother. My Russ. The same boy who used to fall asleep on my shoulder during long car rides. The same one who had called me in the middle of the night when he thought Sasha was going to break up with him and asked if he was. Nuff. The same brother who asked me to help him choose the engagement ring because he trusted my opinion more than anyone's. And now, out of nowhere, I wasn't invited to his wedding. Family only. The words dug into me with a cruel, precise edge. I typed something. "What do you mean?" Deleted it. Typed again. "Did I do something wrong?" Deleted that too. Every draft sounded too desperate, too small. I didn't want him to hear me break. I didn't want to give him that power. Finally, after minutes of battling myself, I wrote, "Okay. I understand." But I didn't. Not even close. I pressed send and felt a sickening emptiness open inside me. He didn't reply after that. No clarification. No warmth. Just silence that felt louder than any argument we had ever had. I leaned back in my seat and closed my eyes, but the memories rushed in like a flood. The time he broke his arm falling off his bike, and insisted only I could sign his cast first. The nights we stayed up playing video games, until Mom yelled at us for being too loud. The way he hugged me when he told me he was proposing, eyes bright with excitement and trust. None of those moments felt family only. Now, for hours I sat in that car, letting the weight of that small message crush everything I thought I knew about our relationship. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was stressed, overwhelmed, pressured. Maybe someone else had sent the text. Maybe he meant something different than what it sounded like. But the truth kept rising through every excuse. He didn't want me there. Not enough to say it in person. Not enough to explain. Not enough to choose me. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying the moment I read the message, trying to dull the sting, but it only sank deeper. Some betrayals scream. Others whisper. This one arrived as a text message at 3:17 p.m., and it broke something in me I didn't know was fragile. The morning after the message, I woke up with the kind of heaviness that makes even breathing feel like work. My phone lay face down on the nightstand, as if even it was ashamed of what it had delivered the day before. I didn't reach for it. I didn't want to see if he had texted again. Some stubborn, quiet part of me still hoped he had realized the cruelty of what he sent and would say something. Anything, to pull it back. But I knew better. The silence had already spoken. Instead, I turned my attention to the envelope sitting on my desk across the room. The one sealed in gold foil, thick with paperwork, confirmations, reservation numbers. I had decorated it myself, probably too lovingly, and written their names across the front in a slow, careful hand. For Russ and Sasha, your honeymoon? Just seeing it made my chest twist. It had been my secret for months. I wanted to surprise them. Not a cheap surprise either. 15,000 worth of resort nights, ocean view suites, helicopter tours, private dinners on the beach, snorkeling. Spa days, the whole dream honeymoon. I'd planned every detail, as if I were sending 2 pieces of my own heart across the ocean. But more than the money or the itinerary, what mattered to me was the meaning behind it. I saved aggressively for almost a year, cutting back on little luxuries, skipping vacations, picking up extra shifts, because I wanted to give my brother something unforgettable. A start to his marriage that reflected how deeply I believed in him, in them, in their future. It was more than a gift. It was love made tangible. And now, I wasn't even allowed to be at the wedding. The insult of it kept replaying in my head. His words, short and cold, as if I were some distant cousin or an old coworker instead of his sibling. Family only. That phrase burned every time I thought about it. I walked to the desk and picked up the envelope. It felt heavier than I remembered. Or maybe I just felt weaker. I sat down, turning it over in my hands, brushing my thumb against the embossed letters. This was supposed to be their dream. Now it felt like a reminder of everything I suddenly wasn't. I opened my laptop and signed into the travel agency portal. My reservations glowed on the screen. Those beautiful, meticulous plans I had made with more excitement than I wanted to admit. I remembered the smile on the agent's face when I told her it was a gift. "They're lucky to have someone like you," she had said. I wondered if that was true anymore. My cursor hovered over the cancel button. Canceling felt like cutting one last thread between us. A thread he had already frayed. Some part of me whispered, "Don't do it. Wait. He might explain. He might fix this." But the other part, the bruised, quiet part, reminded me he hadn't reached out. He hadn't apologized. He hadn't fought for me. And gifts were meant for people who wanted you in their lives. With a slow, unsteady breath, I clicked the button. A confirmation alert popped up. "Are you sure?" it asked. I almost laughed. If only everything in life came with warnings like that. "Yes." I clicked. The screen blinked, loading, spinning, processing. And then, reservation canceled. Refund issued. Just like that. Weeks of planning. Months of saving. Hopes, love, effort erased in one line of text. Not unlike how he dismissed me with one. I sat back in my chair and let the reality settle. For the first time since his message, I felt something shift inside me. Not anger exactly, but clarity. A painful understanding that I had been giving, and giving, and giving, while he had decided, without hesitation, to push me out. This wasn't revenge. Not then. It was simply me withholding a love he no longer valued. I placed the now empty envelope back on the desk. It looked deflated, colorless, like something that had lost its purpose. I wondered if he'd ever know how much that gift had meant to me. But for the moment, I didn't care. The gift was gone. The bond felt gone. And a wedding I once eagerly anticipated had become something I dreaded even thinking about. I whispered to the empty room, "I hope they understand what they threw away." And for the first time since the message, I didn't mean the honeymoon. The morning of the wedding arrived with peaceful sunlight and quiet streets, an almost mocking contrast to the unrest inside me. I imagined the chaos happening somewhere else, the rushing around, the last-minute makeup adjustments, the frantic search for missing cufflinks. All the frantic joy that comes before a ceremony. But none of it was for me. I stayed home. I made breakfast I barely tasted. I tried to distract myself with cleaning, then reading, then anything that would keep my mind away from the ceremony I wasn't allowed to attend. Still, every passing hour felt like a countdown, like I was waiting for something inevitable to break open. It did. just not in the way I expected. At around 4 in the afternoon, I finally checked my phone. I'm not sure what I was looking for. Maybe an apology, maybe nothing. Instead, I had several missed calls, all from Russ. A few from numbers I didn't recognize, and one from my mother. Before I could process it, my phone started ringing again. Russ. My heart jammed in my throat. I hesitated. But old instinct, years of being his safe place, took over and I swiped to answer. "Hello," I said softly. The background noise hit me first, voices echoing, announcements over loudspeakers, rolling suitcase wheels skittering across tile, an airport, and not the calm kind. This was panic wrapped in chaos. Then his voice barreled into my ear, harsh, breathless, furious. "Hate DDO." I blinked, stunned. "Russ, what's going on?" "The honeymoon," he practically screamed. "You canceled it! They're saying there's no reservation!" "Nothing. It's just gone, gamin." My grip on the phone tightened. For a moment, all I heard was the sharp static of disbelief on his end, mixed with the frantic sound of someone sobbing nearby. Probably Sasha. I swallowed. "Yes," I said quietly. I canceled it. The silence that followed wasn't silent at all. It was suffocating, heavy with shock, betrayal, and something else I couldn't quite name. "You were ein and everything," he yelled. His voice cracked. "We're standing here at the check-in counter and they're telling us we have nowhere to go. This was our honeymoon!" Sasha is freaking out. I closed my eyes, letting the storm in his voice wash over me. He didn't ask why. He didn't apologize. He didn't acknowledge what he'd done. He just raged. "So you were planning to use it," I said, bitterness creeping quietly into my voice. "Even after telling me not to come to your wedding. Even after saying it was family only. That," he choked on his own words, "that wasn't about you." "Then who was it about?" My voice trembled, but I held steady. He hesitated. I could picture him tugging at his tie, pacing, unable to look anyone in the eye. Finally, he said it. "It was Sasha," he muttered. "She didn't want you there. She said you're too close to me. That you overshadow her. She felt like she couldn't compete with you in the family. She wanted the day to be hers." My breath caught. "So you agreed." What was I supposed to do? He shot back. "She's my wife now. I had to keep her happy. And what about me?" I whispered. He didn't answer. In the background, Sasha's voice rose sharply, screaming something that sounded like, "Fix it, fix you." Their argument spilled through the phone, her blaming him blaming me, airport staff trying to calm them. I listened in stunned silence as their perfect day unraveled at the seams, right there in the middle of the departures terminal. Finally, after a minute, long shouting match, he returned to the phone, voice cracked and desperate. "Can you rebook it? Please. Just fix this." I shook my head, even though he couldn't see it. "No. It's too late now. Please." He whispered. "Please, don't do this." I breathed in slowly. The ache was still there, but quieter now. Clearer. "I didn't do anything, Russ. You did. You told me I wasn't family. I just believed you." He didn't respond. "Goodbye," I said softly. Then I hung up. And for the first time since his text, I felt something close to peace. The week after the wedding felt strangely quiet. Too quiet. I expected more calls, more frantic messages, maybe even someone showing up at my door demanding explanations. Instead, everything went silent. The noise had died at the airport, but the echoes lingered. My mother eventually filled me in. The fight between Russ and Sasha had spilled out far beyond the check-in counter. Guests had overheard bits and pieces. Rumors spread fast. No honeymoon, screaming match, bride in tears. Instead of flying to Maui, they'd gone home to a small apartment, still half cluttered with wedding gifts. It wasn't the sweet revenge I imagined. It wasn't revenge at all. It was simply consequences. I didn't celebrate it. It didn't feel like victory. It just felt sad. Like watching someone step into a trap they set themselves. Still, a part of me couldn't deny the small surge of vindication. The text he'd sent so casually, "Don't come. Family only," had cut me deeply. It had pushed me out of a moment I should have been a part of. And now, because of that single choice, their dream honeymoon had evaporated too. The universe had a strange way of balancing things. On the 7th day, a knock finally came. A single tired knock. I opened the door and found my brother standing there. Russ looked nothing like the groom I had imagined. Confident, glowing, full of joy. His shoulders slumped. His eyes were dark with exhaustion. His tie was missing. His shirt was wrinkled like he had slept in it. And for the first time in months, maybe years, he looked young again, small, lost. "Can I come in?" he asked quietly. I stepped aside without a word. He walked into the living room, hesitated, then sat on the far end of the couch, as if afraid to sit too close. Silence stretched between us, thick and heavy, until he finally exhaled. "I made a mess," he said. I didn't reply. I wanted him to talk, to explain, to say the things he'd been avoiding. He rubbed his face with his hands. Everything was going fine until everything wasn't. The ceremony was beautiful. The reception too. Then we got to the airport and, his voice cracked. She lost it. Completely. I waited. She blamed me. Said I should have made sure the honeymoon was safe regardless of who paid for it. She yelled at me in front of everyone. Told me I didn't care enough about her happiness. And I just kept thinking about you. About what I did to you. That stirred something inside me. Not forgiveness. Not yet. But something softer than anger. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice trembling. "I'm so sorry." I stared at him. My brother, who had once trusted me with everything, who now struggled to meet my eyes. "Why didn't you talk to me?" I asked. "Why didn't you tell me she felt uncomfortable or insecure? Why send a message like that? Why so cruelly?" He swallowed hard. "Because she said if I told you anything, you'd try to fix it. And she didn't want it fixed. She wanted you out of the picture. She thought you overshadowed her. I thought saying nothing would keep the peace. And did it?" I asked softly. His silence was the answer. He leaned back, eyes shining. Losing that honeymoon, it wasn't about the trip. It made me realize how wrong I was. How much I took you for granted. How much you've always been there for me, even when I wasn't for you. I let his words sit in the space between us. Healing doesn't come instantly. Trust doesn't return with a single apology. But hearing him speak them, finally, loosened something tight in my chest. "I didn't cancel the trip to hurt you," I said. "I canceled it because you told me I wasn't family. Gifts are for people who want you around." He nodded slowly, tears slipping down his face. I deserved that. Though we sat in quiet for a long time. Eventually, he whispered, "Can we fix this?" I looked at him, the boy who used to cling to my shirt during storms. The man who had forgotten who I was for a moment, the brother trying now to find his way back. "Yes," I said. "But it's going to take time." He nodded, accepting it. As he stood to leave, I realized the sweetness of the revenge wasn't in the canceled trip or the airport chaos. It was in this moment. Him finally understanding my worth, and me finally choosing myself.